Hey guys, you're watching Pottery with Dawn, and in this channel, we talk about the up-and-coming EVs, the cool ones of course. Today's topic is going to be the BMW i4. It's been a while since we focused on the Germans, so I thought we'll give it some love. Ever since the Tesla Model 3 came onto the scene, its sales success has surprised pretty much everyone in the world, especially executives from many competing manufacturers. No one doubted the Model 3 would be successful or even extremely popular, but how well the Model 3 has sold since its debut and the fact that the sales and demand have only continuingly to exist to this point as of this video, the Standard Range Plus now has a waiting list of nearly a year from the date of placing the order on Tesla's website, or 11 months to be precise. I personally don't know of a single car on sale today that has a waiting list of nearly an entire year. Of course, I'm under no illusion that we do live in unique times, let's say. With the global chain supply issues, chipset shortages, inflation, and of course a pandemic still, definitely affecting Tesla's production capability, thus exaggerating the waiting period for a Model 3 much more than if we were living in a non-pandemic stricken world. But even if we were to omit the pandemic factor, there's still no denying the sheer success and demand for the Model 3 from pretty much the entire world. The effect the Model 3 has had on the entire automotive industry has been shocking, and that's putting it mildly. For example, when I look around the cars that I see on the road these days, I see a Model 3 nearly every minute, while there used to be a BMW 3 and 5 Series, or Mercedes C and E Class on nearly every intersection before the Model 3 sales exploded. Most car manufacturers have lost some sales to Tesla Model 3, but no companies but the big three German, Mercedes, BMW, and Audi has lost more sales to the Model 3. The company executives had to painfully watch the sales of their popular models drop as many of their customers chose the Model 3 over their offerings. It has been that way for at least the past 3 to 4 years, and finally the Germans are fighting back. 2021 has seen an explosive amount of new offerings from the big three German automakers. Audi e-tron GT, Audi Q4 e-tron, Mercedes EQS, Mercedes EQE, Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo, BMW iX, just to name a few, and of course probably the most important car of the entire year so far, the BMW i4. Some of you may disagree with me saying the i4 is the most important EV of 2021, and that's fine. There's not exactly a right or wrong answer. But the reason I say the BMW i4 is the most important EV unveiled this year so far is because that the EV made exactly to compete directly with the Tesla Model 3, the car that has inflicted so much pain on the big three from Germany for the past few years. When you look at the BMW i4, the price, the size of the car, the range, the power, the two different trims available, you could only come to conclusion that BMW is pointing their latest offering, the i4, directly at the Tesla Model 3. Starting with the base price of the i4, starting at $55,400 before any options and destination and handling fees for the single motor rear-wheel drive eDrive 40 with the maximum horsepower of 335 and an estimated range of 300 miles on a full charge. This nearly splits the difference between the Model 3 Standard Range Plus and the dual motors variant horsepower and the range rating, with the Standard Range Plus coming in at 262 miles and 283 horsepower, and the dual motors range at 353 miles and 363 horsepower. When you also factor in the $7,500 federal tax rebate, the price falls in between $43,900 of the Standard Range Plus and $49,900 for the long range. However, the i4 does come with a few advantages. For example, a liftback design, while the Model 3 has a traditional sedan trunk there, making the i4 the more practical family-friendly choice. Also, being a BMW, it's a pretty big understatement to say we expect the BMW i4 to drive extremely well like a sports car. Make no mistake, the Tesla Model 3 is utterly brilliant to drive. When you hurl a Model 3 into a corner, especially at low speeds, the way the nose is so willing to turn in, it makes you question if this is really a four-door family sedan. But what the Model 3 lacks in its driving characteristics is refinement. Take the suspension for example. The suspension stays pretty flat during cornering and keeps the car under control and composed. For a sports car, that's exactly what you want, but the downside is the suspension, in my opinion, is unacceptably firm and even bouncy. When you drive the Model 3, your head bobbles so much when you drive over any road that isn't perfectly smooth, it's excruciatingly uncomfortable. The only way to stop your head from bobbling uncontrollably is by pushing your head back hard into the headrest. It helps the bouncing a little bit, but it's still highly uncomfortable due to how hard the Model 3's headrests are. Suspension tuning is an area that I feel BMW truly excels at. While modern BMWs don't give the same sportiness, feel, and lightness from the E46 3 Series or the E39 5 Series, they still turn and handle extremely well while giving you a near luxury limousine-like driving experience. Tesla, especially the Model 3, do the sportiness part very well, but it's just that. This is why many people say the Model 3 isn't a luxury car, because in my opinion, they really aren't. It's a very high-tech and reasonably premium sporty car-like experience, but luxury it is not. Then you have the i4 M50 version, which starts at about $65,900 after the $7,500 federal tax rebate, matches the Model 3 performance nearly exactly. The i4 M50 has a slightly higher horsepower rating at 536 horsepower from its dual motors versus the Model 3's performance roughly 480 horsepower. BMW rates the M50 0 to 60 at 3.7 seconds, about half a second slower than the Model 3 performance. But BMW is also known to be conservative in their ratings for horsepower and 0 to 60 times, and that's no different here. Tests of the M50 have yielded results less than the official 3.7 seconds time. When you look at how the i4 will have better build quality, a quieter cabin, less road noise and wind noise than Model 3, while also wearing a desirable badge for nearly the same price as the Model 3, I suspect the i4 will be successful and take back some market share that the Model 3 has taken from BMW in the first place. Also, let's not forget you also get a sportsback liftgate for greater practicality and a much more customizable options from exterior color, interior trim, and materials than Model 3. BMW began the pre-ordering process earlier this year, and right now if you want to, you can go onto BMW's website and place your pre-order for your BMW i4 for a refundable $1,500 with an expected delivery date from the summer of 2022. Since late October, BMW has announced it has begun production of the i4 at their plant in Munich, which is a plant that's nearly 100 years old. This is a huge symbolic milestone for BMW as they begin focusing their attention on building EVs for the masses. Alright, thanks for watching, you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on your latest EV news. Let me know in the comments below of what you think of the i4. Would you prefer it over